Hi everybody, Clint with Catch Feeder. Today I'm here with John Hammonds. He's the automotive director. John is going to take us around the new CNG Kenworth that we've got in, talk about some of the differences that we're going to see when we're looking at them, and some of the things that we need to be aware of and pay close attention to when we're operating one of these vehicles. So, John, welcome.
Thank you.
So this is the beast.
Yeah.
It looks like we've got the, what is it, the Cummins 12?
So this is the Cummins 12 ISX-N engine.
Okay.
It's exactly the same as the ones that we have in the LNG trucks.
Okay.
So both trucks are LNG.
Okay.
Or, sorry, both trucks are natural gas. But one, the LNG is stored at minus 230 degrees.
Right.
But the pressure is only about 230 psi.
Okay.
This is stored at its natural state. It's just compressed to up to 3,600 psi.
Okay.
So a lot greater
difference.
pressure.
Yeah.
Than what we're used to.
Okay.
But once it gets to the engine's exactly the same as what you guys have always driven.
Okay. All right. So as far as operation goes,
yeah.
our operation.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, one of the differences I see right off the bat, the antifreeze reservoir, it's gone.
Yes, and this particular version it's just been relocated.
Okay. And it is behind the turbo?
Nope, that is the air filter.
Air filter? Okay.
So that's what we call the air filter module.
Okay.
And then the coolant is just behind, and I do believe the full line can be seen all the way around.
Okay.
You know, if you go through here.
Yep.
So it doesn't matter really
which side you're on.
Which side you're on. This usually gives you the better view because that's the low oil, the low coolant temper.
Okay.
A low coolant sensor. So.
Okay. All right. Oil.
So it's the same as an LNG.
Okay.
It's got a special oil. It doesn't run the same as the diesels. So with all that, you still have to go to bay 1 if it's low on oil.
Okay. All right. So if you need to add oil, take it to the shop and let them do it. Don't do it at the fuel island.
Not at the fuel island.
Okay. All right. Perfect. All right. Anything else?
So the other big thing to know is that LNGs, they have the methane detector that everybody hates and irritates. That's because when it's stored as a liquid, we can't add the dye to make it smell like a sulfur, right?
Okay.
This is not stored at that, so it's just like your house. If there's a leak, you will be able to smell it.
You'll notice.
Right? You'll get that sulfur.
Odor. Yeah. Rotten egg smell.
Rotten egg smell.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Good. Good. Let's go back to the storage or the fuel storage.
All right.
So, look at this. Now what do we got here?
All right. So the one thing I'm going to stress is that once you guys get to the fuel parts of it, this is a eyes-only inspection.
Okay.
We should not have to touch. We should not have to go through and do anything.
Okay.
All right. So some of this. So this right here is what we call a coalescing filter. It's basically like an oil filter.
Okay.
For the gas itself. It just makes sure that no harmful particles get beyond to the engine to destroy the engine.
Okay.
So all these, you'll see there's 4 tanks inside of here all the way up.
Okay.
All right, and they're just stacked on top of each other. So these are the shut-off valves for us or emergency personnel during an incident, so they can actually shut off the gas to the entire truck and keep it contained inside of the cylinder itself.
Okay.
Right? Nothing should be stored in here at all whatsoever.
No lunchbox, no bottled water, no pin pullers.
No pin pullers. You open it, look to see if there's anything that looks out of order.
Okay.
And you close it.
So that's the only time we look at it, when we're doing our pre-trip, just to make sure nothing's out of order.
The smallest little scratch on these things condemns the tank.
Okay.
And it takes a very long time, and it's the quickest way to lose your tractor.
Okay.
Because this whole cabinet has to come out first, and that's about 6 hours just to take the cabinet apart.
Really?
And then we're on about 2 to 3 months wait time for the tanks.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we usually don't have too many problems with the tanks being an issue. We inspect them regularly. This right here is the actual inspection sticker. So when you're going through, you got your FHWA. You need to make sure that the tank inspection is current. It's good for 1 year.
Okay.
So once we go through, you'll see this. We kind of stop using this, and we have our own sticker that either we put on the door or we'll put visibly on one of the tanks.
Okay.
All right, but it looks just like an FHWA sticker. It just says tank inspection, and you just look. It's the same thing. 5/5 of 2023 will be good all the way to 5/5 of 2024.
Oh, okay. All right.
Just like the FHWA.
Like the FHWA. Perfect. All right. one question I have now, so we've got these gauges here.
Yep.
And I know a lot of guys are going, well, it's broken, it's got water in it or something like that.
All right. So because of the higher pressure,
yeah,
there's going to be a lot of fluctuation in the dial.
Okay.
So this is just oil, and this is perfectly natural. If you see one without oil, that's going to be more of a problem.
Okay.
So this just makes sure that the gauge isn't fluttering back and forth, and you can get a good solid reading.
Okay. All right. Perfect. And that's the same as the gauge down here.
Yeah. So this is going to show you the temperature. Right. So right now the system is charged.
Okay.
Right. So this is going to show you what the current temperature is. This is going to show you on what we call what's coming out of the regulator.
Okay.
So it goes through at 3,600 psi from the tank, goes all the way through, comes back to this regulator.
Okay.
This regulator drops it down to about 100 so that it can be injected into the engine.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Anything over that, you're going to have problems if it's injecting into the engine above 100 pounds?
Yeah.
Okay.
This isn't going to be real other than if it's not there.
Yeah.
Or you don't see oil.
Okay. And
then I'll put you through anything that is what we consider high pressure that's going to be at the 3,600. These are all the ones that say pressure CNG fuel line.
Okay.
Those are just warnings letting you know, don't touch. You see these stickers, they're not suggestions.
Okay. So there's a lot of pressure going through those lines, keep your hands off.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, cool. Now, what is this red valve for?
All right, so this is our manual shutoff.
Okay.
So this for a lot of times will only be not be used a whole lot. If we need to shut it off or we're going to get ready to start fueling, that's really the only time that this part is used.
Okay.
But if you shut it off manually and you see this up and down, and your truck won't start,
good reason.
It's good reason.
Okay. All right. Very good. All
right.
So the fuel to fuel these things, we did a video here a couple weeks ago on fueling them. Now, so the question is, you've got two different size valves or nozzles. Okay. Why?
The only difference is the rate in which we're putting the fuel into the truck.
Okay.
So the tanks for the fast fuel will only fuel up to about 80-85% full.
Okay.
And then from that point on, to get that extra 15%, 15-20%, it has to be hooked up to the slow.
Okay.
And the only reason beyond that is that if you are injecting 3,600 psi at a fast rate, there's a greater risk for the tanks to explode, which is the reason why the system on the fast fills will only fill it to 80%.
Okay.
To protect the system, to protect the truck, protect the driver, protect anybody that's in the area.
Okay.
Because we don't want it to be overfilled.
So there will be, now when we get set up out here, we're going to have the fast fill down at the pumps at the end of the wash tub. The staging area where we park, those are going to be the long fill.
That's going to be the slow one.
Slow fill, okay. Now, is there going to be a difference which one of these we're going to be using?
So one of them, and I'm going to be honest, is that I don't do a whole lot of fueling.
Okay.
So if I remember correctly, this is the fast fill.
Okay.
Using the bigger port.
Okay.
So the fast fill, you're not going to be able to put the fast fill on this port.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So each section, it's almost
self-explanatory.
Self-explanatory, almost impossible to mix it up.
Okay.
And that's the reason that they made them different sizes.
Okay.
So there was no unneeded training or certification for it.
Okay.
Right? But the important thing to remember is that after you're done filling, these have to be in. Locked in and turned. So you'll notice it actually turns.
Right.
This is a magnetic shutoff switch.
Okay.
So if these are not on, your truck will not start.
Okay.
Right? And again, that is done purely for the safety so that there's no way that you can literally pull away and forget that you're connected to the fuel island.
Okay.
And it's not both of them. Any one of these will shut down the starting function of the truck.
So if this is in the right position and your truck's not starting, check your caps.
Check your caps.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right. Moving back. So the question I have, what are the red tags coming out?
So those are the release lines for what we call a PRD, a pressure relief device.
Okay.
So if this tank was to become overpressurized, or there was an emergency or something and it was to exceed the capability of the system, that PRD valve is designed to discharge.
Okay.
And all the gas will vent to atmosphere.
Okay.
Through those vents.
Okay.
So during your pre-trip, the important thing is if those vents are missing,
okay,
we need to look at it, right? Because over time they will deteriorate.
Okay.
But ultimately, if they're not there, that means some gas pushed it off.
Okay.
Which means there's something that we need to double check before we say, let's go down the road.
All right. Good to know.
And sometimes that could just be running through a bay 1 so we can have a quick look at it.
Okay.
It may just be, it was an older vehicle. We had to replace it. We didn't find any problem with the PRD, and you're on your way.
Now, weather, would that have anything to do with it? I mean, after a while, weather gets to them. Do they?
It can.
It can?
Yeah, they're just rubber.
So it could be just a simple fix that, maybe one came off by a brush or
something.
Whatever.
Yeah, so that's why we say run it through bay 1. Let's see if we can. If we are in doubt, we're going to tell you to write it up and let us do a full inspection on all the valves and make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Okay. All right, good.
And then, like I said, there's 2 per tank. So there's 4 on this side and 4 on that side.
Okay.
So there's a primary and secondary. So if the primary fails, the secondary, and the odds that both will fail at the same time, very minimal.
Okay. All right. Very good. Now, so we're looking at the drive line. What is this?
So on all of our new equipment, this is called the Halo system.
Okay.
Do not remember what it stands for, but basically it's an auto fill for your tires. So if your tire starts having a slow leak,
all right,
this thing will monitor the pressure inside your tires.
Okay.
And then it will take air from the tanks and continuously keep it filled so that you can make it to your next destination.
Okay.
Now the benefit with this is that as we start running more of these,
yep,
we actually have access to see what these tires pressures are on road.
Okay.
And they actually send us emails letting us know that, hey, you will have a drop in tire pressure, and you may get a message from your dispatch saying, hey, bring it to the shop or bring it to the next shop so that they can take a look at the tire and change the tire before you're broke down on road for 3 hours while we wait for a vendor to get out there.
Okay. Now, when it comes to changing the tire, I'm sure it's going to take a little bit longer because of this system, or no?
No, not really.
Okay.
So the whole entire hub, this whole thing actually just, all we got to do is we disconnect that, and then these 2 bolts come off the hub.
Okay.
And it's probably adds another maybe 10 minutes.
Okay. All right.
So we went through many different versions. This is the most efficient one that gives us the ability to monitor it and hopefully keep you guys safe.
Okay.
Keep our vendors safe and get the packages where they need to go.
Now, this is only on the rear.
No.
It's not on the steer.
Sorry, yes.
Okay.
I thought you were, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's only on the rear.
All right.
80 to 85% of all of our road calls occur with the rear tire, not the front.
Okay.
So while we continuously roll this out, this is where the potential for you to have a breakdown is going to be here in the trailers. Okay. Which is why it's also, you're going to start seeing it on newer trailers.
Newer trailers as well? Okay. All right, good. Now, the next thing is the dash on these things.
Okay.
Okay. It's all electronic. Yep. It looks fancy as hell. I'm sure there's going to be some issues down the road with that.
Anytime you have a wire, it can break. But the good thing about what they've done in these newer trucks that are coming, they're now modules.
Okay.
So it's more expensive for us to replace when something goes bad, but there's far less wires now.
Okay.
To bend and break, when we hit bumps and such.
Sure.
So I don't think I see it as a positive.
Okay.
The one thing though is that, and this is for every truck.
Okay.
When we see electric buttons, I love the fact that we clean the trucks, we wipe them down, and we take good care of them. But let's make sure that we're taking the chemicals and putting it on a rag, and then wiping down the surface.
Okay.
We've already seen recently a lot of these new steering wheels being replaced because we're spraying it on the steering wheel. Okay. And they're hard to get. So again, by spraying on it, you may lose your truck for a longer period of time. So put it on the rag, wipe it down. It protects the truck and it keeps you in the same vehicle more times than not. And nobody wants to be down on their vehicle because they can't, we don't. Exactly. We've got to wait for parts. Okay. Now, as far as the range on these things go. Okay. So, what are we hearing? We're hearing different things. People are coming to us asking us about the range that these things are going to get. But we're hearing different stories. So the range is hard to speak to because there's a lot of factors that go into it. Okay. the driver.
Yeah.
Is it a guy or lady that is heavy on the pedal?
Okay.
Headwinds.
Okay.
You can't control headwinds.
Right.
You're going into a headwind, you're going to use more fuel than if the wind's pushing you.
Sure. Right.
So I have seen anywhere from 450 to about 550 on the good days.
Okay.
What's going to really come down to it, in every building I've had, it's going to come down to you guys as the drivers.
Okay.
You just have to start learning your truck.
Okay.
So for the runs that we put you on,
yep,
it should make it all the way there and all the way back.
Okay.
The key is to be paying attention on the way back.
Yep.
And then if you're in a place that's very windy and you normally go for a headwind, and you start seeing that it's not, talk with your dispatcher. We may need to either put you in a different vehicle or find a path where you're going to a location and fueling offsite on your way back.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
You may have to fuel twice.
Yeah.
Right? But every route, every driver, every situation is a little bit different.
Okay.
But they should be on a route. Any route that we have, they should be able to get there and back.
Okay.
Without any issue.
All right.
But always keep an eye on it. Your guys' information and real life stuff is far better than any statistic that I got.
Sure. And until we get, we start, putting the data together is what we're doing. Once we've got the system here up and running, we'll be able to gauge it a lot better as to what we can get mileage wise.
Yeah, we'll know the no's and the go's.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I can't think of anything else. Is there anything else you can think of?
No, pretty much everything else is exactly what you have always driven and accustomed to.
Okay.
Some of these will be true twin screws.
Okay.
Most of them will be tag axles.
No. Okay.
So when we're doing our pre-trip, it's just like every other truck. The tires that matter, the ones that we go through, is that first axle. This first axle is real. That one just gets pulled.
Live axle and dead axle.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the tread depth in that rear, we're going to take down to 232nds.
Sure.
Regardless of what it is. This one, we'll be a little bit more liberal with.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Because that's the one where the rubber meets the road. That's what's pulling you.
That's the traction right there.
But other than that, I mean, it's the exact same base.
Okay.
Just different fuel system.
Perfect. All right, John, thank you for your time.
Not a problem.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right.